All right, now for the tire treads. Let's take this tire and I'm going to go ahead and smooth it. Shade smooth just so we can see how it looks there. Okay, and I'll also apply that mirror modifier. We don't need that on right now, so I'll apply that. Now, how are we going to create these pieces here? What's interesting is we really only need to create two objects, this and this. And once we do that, it's just a matter of duplicating, repeating, mirroring, etc. to get all the rest of the treads. So just like we've done several times before, I'm going to go ahead and just use a polygon plane to get that basic shape, and then we'll apply a solidify modifier to that. So I'll maybe grab this point here and press Shift S2 to move that cursor there. And then let's press Shift A, Mesh Plane, and here we go. Here's our polygon plane. I'll turn it in the x-axis, RX90. Let's scale it down, and I'll bring it out just in front of the tire there. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's go to the front view, and I'm going to scale this down with the S key, and then let's try and figure out about how big it's supposed to be. If we look at the reference image, it really doesn't give us much information there about the size of the tread, so we're just going to have to kind of eyeball it here. And I'm thinking maybe about that size, really. Let's kind of go with that. And then let's tab into edit mode and grab this edge, and I'm going to move it in like this. Let's hit E. Move this up, hit S, scale in, rotate a bit, E, and move that up like this. Let's try this. Something like this. So let me scale this down a bit. I'll scale that up a bit. So you may have to do a little bit of tweaking here to get the shape the way you want it, and that's fine. Okay, so now we've got, let's say we've got that shape in place. Now we need this up here, or this right here, let's say right here. So to do that one, it looks like it's about the same size coming off of there. So I'm just going to hit extrude and pull this off like this till it's about in the center. Let's go to wireframe and see if I can see that center line. There it is right there. So I'll move it up to here, just almost to the center, and rotate it a bit like that. Okay. Now let's take this and let's split this. I'll press Control E and edge split right here. Now if I deselect it and select this, I can move that off. There we go. So let's say we've got that. Yeah, let's go with that for now. We can adjust this quite a bit even after we apply the array to it. Let's press Control R and bring this down about right here. And then if we select this edge, we can hit E and pull out just a bit like that. And then I will select this and this point right here and press Alt-M and merge at last right there. So that creates that basic shape. It looks like it just has kind of an angle coming out of that right there. So I think that's doing pretty well. I think maybe I'll move this back some and this down like this. Kind of hard to tell, but we can play with it till to our heart's content, that's for sure. Maybe move that up. All right. So let's say that that's the basic shape of our tire treads here. And okay, let me move this up. I think this needs to be a little bit farther apart. There we go. Okay, so there's the basic outline of our tire treads. Now what I'm going to do is use a shrink wrap modifier to take this and mold it to the tire a little better. So with this selected, I'll then come over here and click Add Modifier and Shrink Wrap. And then in the same way we've done before, let's click that eyedropper and click on the tire. And there you can see it's been conformed to the shape of the tire there. Now let's click on this offset and drag and pull it out some. So we can pull it out about to where we think the tread would be, maybe like that. It's hard to know exactly how far the tread would be out at this point in time. But once again, once we get everything in place, we can do a little more adjusting. I'll go ahead and smooth this. Object Shade Smooth. Okay. I'm going to press Control A and apply the scale just to make sure that that's done. What let's do now is go ahead and apply that array modifier and see if we can get this tread all the way around the tire. So once again, I'll select that tire and let's move the cursor to it. Shift S2. We'll create an empty. Shift A, empty plane axes. There it is. Now if we take that tread and we come over here to add modifier and array, there we can see it now. And then if we increase the count, oops, let's click here, increase the count. Maybe I'll bring it up to 6 again. There we are. Now, one thing I didn't do is move this origin to the 3D cursor. We need to do that. So let's go to Object, Set Origin to 3D Cursor. There we go. Now let's turn off Relative Offset, turn on Object Offset, and let's select that empty object. Now you can see what happened pretty quickly. It went ahead and added a few around the tire. Let's select that empty and let's rotate in the x-axis. I'll press RX and let's rotate around like this. So I'm going to rotate it back like this and kind of get the right spacing in here. At least I hope. Let me try this. RX. And I kind of want to get it right about, I don't know, right about there. It looks like it'd be okay for the tread, for the spacing between the treads, right? And then now let's go back and select that and increase our count. So let's just click and we're going to increase it all the way around here. And let's see if it comes out relatively even. No. So let's go back to 36 and then let's select that empty object and let's hit R and X and then there we go. I just moved the mouse a little bit. Right there. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and do a little more adjusting on the actual original tread object. For the shrink wrap, let's click on Edit Cage here so we can see it. Now let's go to vertex mode and let's just start moving this around a bit because you can see when I move it around, it moves everything around for all of the pieces of the array. So I think like this. Yeah, I'm just kind of moving these around, tweaking these a bit until I get it kind of the way I want it. Let's zoom in here. Feel like that's pretty good right there. Now I think the next thing we can do is let's try and add a solidify modifier to this. So let's come over here to the add modifier and let's choose solidify. And that gives us some thickness to those treads. Let's come over here and choose only rim so it doesn't have any back faces. And I'll click and drag on the thickness and move that in or out to kind of go into the tire there like that. Okay, we're getting there. Let's go to Object Data and let's turn on Auto Smooth. All right, that helps. All right, now that we've got the treads pretty much in place, now we need to think about how to get them over to the other side so they're in line all the way across the tire. And we'll work on that in the next video.